A man asked me for coffee today after work, and I politely told him no, and then brought myself to McAllister's, where I got this croissant, this grilled chicken sandwich, and an entire bowl of broccoli cheddar soup and a Dr. Pepper for under $25. Now, I'm not going to argue with you about how you like to date, just like I don't want you to argue with me about how I like to date. But coffee is never going to be an option for me. And just like I respect your choice to coffee, respect mine to not coffee.
Hey y'all, so there seems to be a little bit of confusion on the internet. There is a gender war that has broke out again. The gender war is always active online, okay? At this point, I can truly see that it's both men and women that are like equally kind of the problem at this point. There's a group of women that also mimic a group of men online, okay? You are complaining about what you deserve. So we're going to talk about a couple of ladies. The main one that we're going to talk about in this video is the one that went viral for saying that a man had asked her out to coffee and she declined it and went out and got coffee by herself. Okay, I'm going to break down the confusion and we're going to solidify this argument. Okay, so her little video, it caused chaos on the internet. So many people had different opinions. I feel like what I'm about to say is accurate, okay? I see this topic, it goes viral every few business days. Nobody is saying that women should not have standards, but basically what we're trying to say is if you had qualified for what you wanted out of life, you wouldn't need to come on the internet and complain and beg and plead for it. So, like, I actually know women who live the lifestyle that you guys are always talking about online, where they get men to spoil them and trick off on them and take them here and steakhouses and lavish dates, but that's what they deserve. Um, I don't know what fat girl needs to hear this. What this lady is attracting in men, she's just meeting her equivalent. You have put no work into your appearance. I'm pretty sure you've done no work on your personality, hence why you're on the internet with these weird takes. You have basically done the complete bare minimum as a woman, but yet you want what the eights, nines, and tens can get out of men. Because the women that I know that are getting, that have the high standards, they don't need to come on the internet and announce it and beg and plead. Men just show up and act accordingly because they know that they can't, try certain stuff with certain type of women. The reason why this woman is attracting men who are asking her out, I don't know, for coffee. I guess that's the bare minimum online, right? She's the bare minimum when it comes to what men want. You are out of shape. You're huge. You've done nothing to improve your femininity. It literally looks like you woke up and you spent 10 minutes max in the morning every day getting ready. I've checked out her profile. So, what you want out of life, you're not willing to give the person what they want. She wants the man to come in and take her to a steakhouse. Fat, ugly women need to understand that for men, you are the equivalent of a broke man. That's why you always attract broke men who offer you scraps, okay? I'll get into my thoughts about coffee dates in a sec because I don't think that it's all that bad. But I'm just saying, because I'm meeting the ladies at their talking points. The ladies online, they think that coffee dates are just beneath them, it's bottom of the barrel, whatever. Okay, I have a mixed opinion about it. So a lot of ladies, they come online and they complain that they attract what they essentially deserve. That's what you deserve. You deserve for broke men to talk to you because you are just like how broke men are on the bottom of the dating chain or whatever. A fat, ugly woman is on the bottom for men. So it's like you're just attracting your equivalent in the dating market. That's really like that's all that I thought in this situation. Or even when there's been like an influx of videos that I've talked about on my community tab where there's obese, they're always obese, they always do nothing for their appearance, their skin complexion, it looks dull, it looks ashy. First of all, women need to understand men do not like fat women. They don't put fat women on a pedestal. So whatever you're talking about, right? Because there was this one girl, stfu, she does a video complaining that she doesn't have pretty privilege, and she says, I don't understand. I put effort into my appearance. I wear the wigs. I wore the lashes. Yeah, but you've never fixed your weight. And we haven't even gotten into you guys' entitled, horrible personalities, okay? That's a whole different topic on its own. I've actually done videos about that.
To understand. So I really wrote off a lot of the responses. However, one response stuck out to me. Whenever someone said, you just aren't trying hard enough. Beauty takes effort. This, of course, implying that I could have pretty privilege if I wanted it. Mind you, I had always tried. I'd always tried with makeup, I'd always tried with hair, and I'd always been into fashion when necessary. But after I heard that comment over and over again, even from people in my real life once they unfortunately watched the video, which I desperately tried to get them not to do, a challenge was born. Did I really not have pretty privilege, or was I just being lazy and not operating at my full potential?
Black women have that so bad, and I said this before, they try to put lipstick on a pig. If you're big, men do not care if your nails are done, if your hair is done, if you have the baddie aesthetic going on, if you're wearing the cute clothes, you're big. That's all they see. One thing I know about men is they're truly attracted to, and they truly put organic beauty on a pedestal. So what that means is women who take care of themselves from the inside out. So that means your body is in shape. You keep your skin glowy. You know what I mean? So, in stfu's video, she talks about like how she tried everything. And she still doesn't have like privileges with men. Men ignore her. They put her in like the sleeping only category. And it's like, yeah, you've tried everything except losing weight. That's the biggest thing that Black women just don't want to do, but then they always freaking complain. Your weight is the first thing that men care about, okay? If you ever wonder why they always hit and quit, they never upgrade you to the girlfriend or wifey position, it's probably because of your weight. Y'all be wanting men to take you seriously and to bring you around his friends, his colleagues, and his family members, but you don't understand that your appearance is embarrassing. Being fat is embarrassing. They want a woman where they can feel proud, okay? Some of you girls show up and you're nothing to brag on. You're nothing that would show up and make a man proud to even bring you around. And then you wonder why he puts you in the, oh, I'm only going to see you at 2 a.m. in the dark category. Hello, use your head, think. I'm just being blunt here. Okay, you're fat. We don't care if you have on makeup and X, Y, and Z. If you're fat, you are on the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the dating market as a woman. Get this through your noggin. When you sit up here in these videos confused, all of these videos that I watched of women complaining about the results that they were getting from men, they were all fat. Fat. Yes, I'm going to use the word fat. The Black community might consider some of these girls like a stfu. She may be considered thick in the Black community, but in the real world, you are fat. I'm just being honest with you. Okay? Black women will do everything except lose weight and then complain about their results and blame it on their skin complexion. Honestly, Kevin Samuels had said it. Men like fit, feminine, friendly. So once you work on your appearance, some girls get stuck where it's like, okay, they've leveled up their appearance, but you're not feminine or friendly. Your personality sucks. So you're still in the skip me category with men, okay? So all I see is a bunch of women complaining about what they deserve. Women that deserve the finer things in life, they just get it. Like I said, they don't talk about it. They don't need to get on the internet, start gender wars, start arguing with men and decenter men and you men ain't ish and men. No. They have a healthy relationship towards men. Men show up in their life and deliver. You have done nothing to level up yourself, but yet you want the reward of a 10. Do you know how hard it is to be an 8, 9, or 10? Let me break down the discipline real quick. I just blew a bag on hygiene stuff. I did intensive research on how to clear up my dark spots on my body, how to, just make my skin immaculate, okay? And I went to Target, I went to these lavish websites where, dermatologists recommended these certain products. I bought it. It is complete discipline to look good. That's why the women that sacrifice so much, they're sacrificing the meals. They're not being gluttonous with food, or they're not constantly, they're fasting. They're drinking the nasty green juices just to look good. Or they wake up and they spend 2-3 hours every day getting ready. They're in the gym even when they don't want to go to the gym. Why on earth would you think that a woman who rolls out of bed and does practically nothing to invest in her looks would deserve the same treatment as the woman that's sacrificing so much of her life just to remain an 8, 9, or 10? You don't accidentally become an 8, 9, or 10. No. When you see a bad B, understand that that is a woman who is extremely disciplined. She prioritizes her looks. She prioritizes herself. Okay? These ladies are attracting scraps from men because you are scraps in female form. Anyways, let's talk about coffee dates, okay? Let's talk about the coffee date thing. So, I had did a video about a man tricking off on me when I was younger, and he gave me the treatment that all the girls want online, right? He just, and that wasn't something that I had asked for. Once again, if you qualify for men to trick off on you, they'll just show up at your door and trick off. And that's exactly what he did. He would showed up at my door. He would drop all these clothes, iPhones. He bought me everything under the freaking sun. He was going to buy me a car, everything. Okay. Everything that you guys want, the sprinkle lifestyle, I had that. And there's pros and cons to everything. Men who trick off like that, you can even go watch like Wizard Liz video. She talks about that too, where Landon tricked off on her. Some of them are evil and they're not good people and they're trying to buy you. They have hidden intentions. So when it comes to like a simple coffee date, when I was single, I had well-off men offer me to coffee dates. I've had lawyers ask me to go on coffee dates. Now, me being a woman and just being real here, I can see why a woman would not be excited to go on a coffee date. I'm just being honest, okay? So I kind of see both sides to the conversation. I could see why women wouldn't like that because it wasn't something that I liked. But at the end of the day, I don't think that you should get distracted in dating. You need to look at what's actually going on. And sometimes women can get distracted. Just because a man is tricking off on you does not mean that he's a good man. Sometimes the evilest men do that. Or I've met some pretty decent men in the past that had offered me, they were like financially well off, engineers and stuff like that. Like they were the provider type and they offered to take me out to coffee. So I think that women, you need to look at what's really important. And that's why I tell women, focus on the man's character. Stop getting distracted by the little purses that he's buying you at first. Look at the man in front of you. That's what's going to let you know if he's a good man or not. That's just my personal opinion from my own experience. I have experienced the men that do endless tricking, and a lot of them are horrible. Okay? Some men are evil. And they overcompensate by blinding you with gifts. That's why when you're going through DV, that's actually a cycle, the love bombing cycle, because it's like some men, they're spoiling you out of guilt because they know that they're lacking in other departments. So that's something to consider. I'm not writing off all men that buy you things, but it's just something that you have to keep in the back of your mind. So I think sometimes when it comes to dating, women can get very distracted, and this is what keeps them single. Look at his values. Look at the man in front of you. How is he talking? Does he want marriage? Does he want kids? Those are things that you should focus on. Now, the cons with coffee dates. Sometimes, in my opinion, I think it can indicate that a man may be cheap. Okay? Cheap can be good and bad. Like, that's the thing. Some men that do all this tricking are extremely financially irresponsible, and you'd be surprised what type of money that he's spending. I've met men that spent their rent money on me and were homeless. Okay? So they're doing everything that these ladies are saying that they want in a man: spend money on me, be generous. Some men will spend their rent money. They're so addicted to women. They're womanizers. They're, we'll say, woman-centered to the point where they will go homeless trying to trick off on a baddie. Okay. Then you have the men who are engineers and lawyers, and they're financially responsible. So they prefer to, like take women out on coffee dates. But the problem is sometimes a man who offers a woman to go on coffee dates, it can indicate that he's a serial dater. And he's just playing the numbers game, and he's just taking a lot of women on coffee dates. And I don't really like that dating method. I think that people should get to know each other over the phone. And if you feel like this is a woman that you like, take her on a nice date. Take her on a nice date. You should not be blindly meeting up with people and experimenting on a date anyways. You should talk to them on the phone to know if this is somebody that you can see potential in or see interest in. You know what I mean? So I feel like people who go on coffee dates, they may be lazy daters. That's just my opinion. Okay. It can indicate that they're a lazy dater. I think the best way of dating, like I said, if you're doing online dating, talk on the phone, see if you guys have the same, if you want the same things in life. And once you find that out, go on a nice date. Once you realize there's potential there, I think that people should have a pre-phone call before we even get to the date. Because realistically speaking, like, coffee dates, in my opinion, I just feel like it's not romantic. It kills romance. It's not something that a woman will remember. You'll just turn into like, oh, one of many. She'll probably forget about you. I'm just saying, but at the same time, this is why I said when it comes to coffee dates, I'm 50-50, because at the same time, I do feel like a real woman would look at the man in front of her and not get blinded by extra distractions. But at the same time, every woman wants to feel pursued, adored, romance. Women like chivalry. Okay, so that's why I'm 50-50. I can see, like, the pro coffee daters, I can see why they have that stance. And then the anti-coffee daters, I can see why they have their stance. I kind of see everybody's point when it comes to that. So I'm not really for it or totally against it. I personally, if you're asking me, I've never been on a coffee date ever. It's not something that I can see myself excited to go on. So when people would ask me to go on coffee dates, I would quickly forget that I even had a date, because it's like, it's nothing to look forward to. So, because I remember Kevin Samuels, I think he talked about that, something about men being cheap, and he kind of had the same take as me. He said, before we even get to the date, because some men, they take you on coffee dates because they're dating a lot of women and they don't want to waste their time. Well, you are supposed to find out if you're going to waste your time or not before you even get on the date. And once again, like I said, when it comes to fat, ugly women, yeah, be cheap with them. That's what they deserve. But when you're trying to court a woman that looks really good, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to put in a little bit more effort. And that's what Kevin Samuels, I remember he had said that. So, yeah. She puts in effort to give men what they want. Men love a pretty woman. So put in effort. You got to meet the woman halfway. See, I promote balance. I promote healthy relationships. I tell women, if you want a man, give men what they want. Men, if you want a woman, give women what they want. That's how healthy relationships work. Y'all be selfish on this internet, and y'all love a good power imbalance. And notice how all the people that talk like that, they're all single. They're all single. They can't ever keep relationships long term. So that's all that I have to say about that. But the last thing I want to say to wrap up this video that I had forgot to mention is, when I went down my rabbit hole of women complaining, fat, ugly women complaining about the results that they were getting from men, one thing that they all had in common, okay, because I like psychology, I like analyzing human behavior and making connections. I noticed from my study that all of these chicks had this one particular trait in common. they don't want to fix what they complain about. So people on every video, they would come in the comment section and kind of just recommend them tips or things that they can improve to attract a different result. And they all had the same reaction. They were like, first of all, I never asked for you guys to give me tips. And they were all basically rejecting solutions and rejecting improvement, self-improvement. And it's like, okay, well then that's why you attract what you attract. Like the one lady, I'll put her on the screen. She was just not cute and overweight and just she does nothing to her appearance. And people were telling her exactly that. They said you're not attractive and you're overweight. And then I'll actually go to the video and read her pinned comment. So we're going to read her pinned comment because this reaction is pretty common with these women. So she says, so the video is titled "The Pain of Never Being in Love." I watched the video and it basically was about how men would only deal with her in private and they would, around other people, they would act like they don't know her or they just only wanted to sleep with her. And they're treating you like this because of how you look. When a woman looks good, men, that's why they call it like beautiful women complain about men kind of treating them like arm candy or like a trophy, because when you look good, there's none of that secrecy stuff going on. They want to show you off to the world. Men like to be proud of things that they've accomplished, I guess, and pulling a beautiful woman is not the most easiest task. So they're going to show you off. Well, this woman had the opposite dating experience because she's not beautiful. Okay? And people were giving her tips and solutions, and she's deleting their comments because she left up the comments that were basically enabling her delusions and saying, oh, well, don't worry, God's gonna send you the right man, just you keep waiting, girl. And y'all are dead wrong for telling that woman that. You know dang well why men are not taking her seriously. You know why. And you're wrong. You're wrong for telling her that, because she's going to keep wasting more and more and more and more years waiting on this magical man to give her princess treatment. No, look at your results. Look at your script of your life. That's what you're going to continue to attract unless you do something different. So anyways, in her pinned comment, she wrote, I love y'all for watching and supporting, but I just want to make a few things clear. Number one, I'm not desperate for a man. I'm excited about God's plan for my life, which I know includes prosperity, marriage, and multiple glow-ups, okay? Number two, I'm not asking for advice on how to get a man. There are more than enough horror stories out here to prove to me that I should focus on me and allow God to do his part. She wrote, number three, I'm not asking for advice on weight loss. I'm on a weight loss journey. I have a primary doctor. I know what I need to do. Let me work on what I need to work on. Number four, I'm not asking for advice. My self-esteem isn't low, so I don't need to be told how I can improve. Number five, I'm not asking for advice. I'm not changing how I look from my hair to my glasses to the colors I choose to wear because a bunch of strangers think so. In what world would that even makes sense? I preach wholeness, self-confidence. You think I'm really start doing the most because some of y'all think so? Anyways, thank you for watching. Okay, so basically, she has complaints, but she's resistant to solutions. A lot of women are like this. We all have had that one homegirl that will forever complain about the results she's getting from a man, and then you try to help her, and she just doesn't listen and still goes on to call you every day and complain about the same thing. Okay? When people hear you complaining about something, it's inevitable that they're going to, it's almost like we feel like you're asking for help if you're opening your mouth to complain about a situation. That's why people come into your comment section and tell you you're attracting this in your dating life because you look like this. That's why people do that when y'all do these videos. Okay? And every single time, the woman is very resistant to the self-improvement tips that people give her. Okay, well then continue to be the skip me woman in dating, continue to be the woman that men only date in private at 2 a.m. I don't care anymore. And then continue to pray and do nothing to work on yourself, and pray that God will just send you a husband, even though you look like this. By the way, if you're ugly, all that, you can't gaslight men. So she says something about, well, I'm confident. It doesn't matter. You don't look good and you're overweight. Okay? Like I said, men are attracted to authentic beauty. They create the beauty standards. So you can't be a 2 and then think that your confidence is going to trick men into believing that you're a 10. That's not how that works. And then it always goes back to the decenter men. I'm not desperate for a man nonsense. Okay, then stop coming online and complaining about your results from men if you don't want to improve because you think that that's male centered or whatever weird nonsense that you guys always be talking about. It's not male centered. We are all grown and we all want things out of life. If someone wants to be married, you need to make certain improvements in order to attract marriage in your life. But let these single, chronically single, skip me women tell it online, oh, that's male centered if you make any improvements in order to get a man. And notice how those women that say that can never ever keep relationships in their life. Peep the game on that. Stop listening to people where you wouldn't want to trade places with them. If you know you want marriage, you know you want kids, stop listening to the woman that runs through men every 6 months. Stop listening to the woman that's always divorced, that's always single. She's going to tell you her game card from her perspective that's keeping her in that position. So that's just one thing that I notice about all these women that complain about men. They're resistant to solutions because that's male centered. Okay, well, screw you and continue to attract what you attract and get out of my face and stop complaining and goodbye.
Put the coffee date debate to rest. Let it rest in peace. All you got to do is not go. I don't know why y'all feel the need to keep broadcasting it to the internet and telling us that you too good for one. We don't care and we don't believe you, right? We don't believe you that you too good for a coffee date and an ice cream date. The only thing I hear is that you ain't used to nothing. Because I ain't never seen a woman that's used to nothing be so impressed by somebody taking them to a steakhouse for lobster and steak. I never seen it before. But y'all get on here and y'all act clueless as to why you don't know why these men are offering buffer dates. Y'all utilize social media and dating apps so much nowadays that it only makes sense for somebody to want to take some of y'all to ice cream and coffee to make sure you're going to show up with the same face and body that you got online. Because majority of the time you don't, right? And ain't nobody trying to take you to no expensive restaurant, valet a car, go sit at the table and watch for you to come in just to see a bunch of disappointment walking through the door. I'm so fair, I put myself in people's places. Like, I can only imagine being a man sitting at the table at the restaurant or the bar and then watching somebody walk in with a completely different face and body, knowing that this person is about to sit down and order food and drinks on my tab that I gotta pay for and I don't even like what I see. Yeah, I would want to take that person for ice cream and coffee too first. I'm gonna hold y'all hand when I say this. Men pay attention to the type of woman that you are, right? They look at everything about you. Your overall look, how you carry yourself, your lifestyle. And a lot of that tells them how they got to handle you, right? Like where you fall at. And I'm sorry to say it. Well put together women who are doing well for themselves, desirable women, they don't even get offered coffee and ice cream dates. You know why? Because when men look at them, they look at them and they be like, this woman would never accept that. This woman, I wouldn't even want to present that to her. I don't even see her as that type of woman. And the crazy thing about this is the ironic part. Listen up. Those be the main women who don't mind going to ice cream and coffee. The women who life is together, money right, looking good, they the main ones who don't care where you taking them like that. You know why? Because they're used to nice things. They used to men wanting to wine and dine them. They are used to the steakhouses. They used to the seafood restaurants. That's not impressive to them at this point. It's only impressive to somebody who's not used to nothing. Listen to that clear. It's only impressive to women who not used to nothing. I done ate at almost every steakhouse in my city. Whether it been me, my homegirls, men taking me there, I'm not impressed by it. If you offered it to me, I'ma probably pick somewhere else that got better food, right? But again, a lot of y'all really just don't get it. You be thinking that these men don't pay attention to the type of woman you are, the caliber of woman that you are. You don't realize that you say that it's a low effort date and they think of you as a low effort woman. And that's the reason why you keep getting presented it. And honestly, I would be embarrassed to keep getting online and exposing that I'm a low effort woman. And that when men look at me, that's the most that they see in me is coffee and ice cream. But keep doing your big one.